for it.
And now, for your listening pleasure, straight out of Milwaukee, the least talked about podcast in Wisconsin, Hip or Critical. Your outlet to let us praise or vent on all things that, in the end, don't really matter, because in the end, you will all die, I will live, and I know I'm doing Count Dracula, and this is Frankenstein. Frankenstein would really sound like, so I didn't think that would work as well, so I did that instead. How was that? Hey, AlexaMKE.
Hey, Dave.
MoKE.
Hey, world.
How you doing?
I thought that was really strange, and I was actually going to mention that you were doing Dracula while you were holding up a Frankenstein mask. So I'm glad that you knew that you were doing that.
What's our favorite one to get the memes, the nerds going, is when you have a picture of Jean-Luc Picard and said, "Use the Force."
Oh yeah, the Star Wars, Harry, Star Trek crossover meme.
Use the Force, Harry. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I know we have some hip happenings we want to talk about. We've both been watching some things. We got some things we want to do. What have you been watching, Mr. MoKE?
Oh, I had a little. The SO went away to visit some friends, so I got shacked up for the weekend. Got to watch Stranger Things on Netflix.
How is that?
One of the 10 ones that we wanted to look at, and yeah, it kind of gave me that Super 8 and Stand By Me feel. So I don't know. It's kind of. Kind of a little feel like that. So, and then throwing a little Lucy, So, yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm certainly waiting for it to continue. I like the old feel of it. That's what I guess the Stand By Me part just felt like it's something that they just a TV show they had discovered that they had made back in the 70s or something like that and just pulled out now.
Interesting. Now, I know I told you, because you had in our show notes that you were going to talk about Mr. Robot, but you're not. You're going to talk about the SNL skit with Mr. Robot, because I haven't finished watching Mr. Robot. I got to binge watch the last couple of episodes.
Right, which are fantastic, of course, and just as confusing as always. But yeah, what was nice is that it jumped into Saturday Night Live. Leslie was the cast member who had been recently hacked, and her personal photos were put online. And so she was like talking to Mr. Robot, and they had one of the guys, this thin-faced guy, I forget his name, but he looked just like him, was wearing the head, the hoodie, the whole shebang.
Oh yeah, he looks just like the guy who plays
Sam. Yeah. And so yeah, she was going up to him. You're gonna help me find who stole my photos, and and so he's looking and everything, and in the end, he goes, yes, well, you uploaded them to the web. I don't know how you did it. It's actually rather difficult, but it was really you were the one who did it. Oh, I thought it was something like that. Oh, well.
Of course, SNL.
Exactly. And I did pick up Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which was a kind of a spacey little show. I don't know if it's just was separate episodes and that's all it's going to be, but I'd recommend that to anybody who wants to binge. It's only 7 episodes long. Good show. And
cool.
Speaking of being able to binge, my dad's laid up at home a little bit, slipped a disc in his, something, driving on a tractor.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, farm guys, you know how they do. They're always hurting themselves somehow. All right, but I set up Dad had Netflix for free for a year from something he got, so I set that up for him, and he's like, "Well, now how do I get to if I want to watch the earlier ones?" No, Dad, it starts at 1. You get to start at 1 and go through all of them.
How old is Dad?
Yeah, 20 years older than I am, so 70.
Okay.
But it's just like now he doesn't have to fast forward. When he got to fast forward through commercials, that was a miracle. Now not even have to fast forward through commercials, that's just excellent to him. So
that's the beauty of cord cutting. Sometimes is you don't have commercials. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But a lot of times you don't. I got him
on Longmire. I set him up on Longmire, and he's loving that.
Oh yeah.
So far. Yeah.
Cool. So I know the big buzz has been about China Lights, and I know you haven't seen it, and I haven't seen it. I'm gonna go probably the next day or two. What I have heard is that it is absolutely magnificent, but to buy your tickets online, because we were going to go last Saturday, and we got the way I go through the Parkway to Whitnall Park, and we saw the line on Forest Home Avenue and went,
oh boy,
and we turned around and went home. And there was somebody who went that evening that works with my husband, and he said, yeah, he said parking was a little bit chaotic. Buy your tickets online. So my daughter went this week, and she said the same thing. She said parking wasn't so bad because she went during the week, but buy your tickets online. So anybody who's going to go see China Lights, buy your tickets online. You'll save yourself a world of hurt.
Yeah, we had some friends that posted some photos on Facebook, and they were beautiful. I don't have to go now. Well, it's on Facebook. I've seen it. Forget it.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Yeah,
I want to let our viewers know real quick.
Yeah.
Well, I want to let our viewers know real quick that we're going to be doing every 2 weeks for the next few weeks. We're working on some technical stuff. So once we get that all worked out, and
until you start clamoring for another week to week.
Yeah, until you start clamoring, we're gonna do it every 2 weeks because we've got, and the holidays are coming up. But I know we've got Halloween coming up. I'm gonna go to the Fright Hike. Now, I went to the Fright Hike 2 years ago. Last year we didn't go because it was raining and I didn't want to do it in the rain. It's actually out in the woods at AlexaMKE. That's August 21st and 22nd. It's $7 a head for adults.
Our area's first weather station lookout point, right? Isn't that the claim to fame for AlexaMKE?
Yeah, it is, and you can climb that tower. So which is kind of cool because I've climbed. It's not actually that high, because I've been up some fire towers before, and that one's not that high. But yeah, that's a cool one to go to. What's really neat about it is a lot of the local schools and organizations. Each one has a different display, and it's a nice little hike. It takes about maybe 20-30 minutes to walk through. Some of them are amusing, some of them are kind of scary, some of them are goofy and cheesy, but it's a real variety of types of Halloween scares. So I enjoy it. My husband enjoys it. Plus you get to hike through the woods. What the heck,
Right, that's right.
Anything you're doing?
You just talking about that, those hikes kind of thing is kind of cool. I think they probably still do it. I didn't look yet this year, but it reminded me a few years back, we went on one of those cemetery walks where we walked through the cemetery, and then they stopped at certain gravestones and talked about the person who was there and what they did, while they were alive, from 1800s, 17s, 19s, everybody through all the years through.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so you kind of had a history lesson at the same time you're getting kind of spooky, spooked out a little bit in the graveyard. So that was kind of a cool little thing as well. It reminded me of that kind of thing, being able to walk around and do that. Certainly cool. Yeah.
Do you have anything planned coming up for the next week or two to go see besides China Lights?
No. I mean, again, there are quite a few things to look at, and again, gosh, you know how it is, man. I jump on it whenever I can. We're still going to talk. November 5th is still coming up, another Comic-Con, Milwaukee Con, and we're going to have to go over some of those things here the next show, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And also Dr. Strange.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dr. Strange, friend.
Yeah.
We've
got some things to talk about. So, cord cutting. I want to just give everybody an update. My processor and motherboard came in, so I'm going to be ordering a power supply. I'm really on the fence about what power supply to order because you want to get a quiet one. I did a lot of research. I'm still on the fence, but I will be putting that all together. But on the cord cutting front, I did want to talk about Chromecast came out with Chromecast Ultra. And that is going to be 4K capable. So if you have a 4K TV and you have 4K video, that's going to be something that will pair well with a TV that is more superior than the one I own. And then the interesting thing that I saw in the news this week was there is a possible sale or merger of Netflix and Disney.
Wow.
Now, everybody has to remember that Disney owns not only all the cartoons, I shouldn't say cartoons, I should say animations that we grew up with, and some of the other properties, Star Wars properties, yes, and some of the other properties like Pirates of the Caribbean and things like that. So that's going to be interesting to see if that happens, how that'll affect some of their deals going forward, and what kind of content they have. So your dad with the Netflix could be interesting.
And what else can we get back? Because I just went back on Netflix to start watching Fringe again. They took that away from me. Give me my Who and Fringe now. No, Fringe is gone. Netflix, what are you doing to me?
Bring Dave's Fringe back for Netflix. Okay, cool. So, Internet Adventures. Did you watch the debate?
Which one?
I did not watch the debate. I'm going to be real honest. I know who I'm voting for, so the debates don't interest me because
We don't do a lot of politics here. We don't.
No, we're not going to do politics, but for me, it's like I do my research. I don't get my, answers from the debates because basically they're all stock answers. We all know they're trying to.
Yeah, I already heard them. Those of us who are informed already know the answers on both sides.
But the fun thing about the debates is we have bad lip reading. So I will post the link to our Facebook page. I highly encourage you to see the bad lip reading of the last debate. They kind of do it in a little bit of a game show format, and it was hilarious.
Well, and that's what these are good for, is the memes that come out of them and everything like that, and if I can, I'm going to interject my one thing because it's not really typically a commentary on the political area, but it sneaks in there. But we recently had a situation where two men were caught disparaging women on an open mic. One is in the entertainment business, which will do nothing to any of us. He can never change any of our lives, and he's getting fired. The other person that was caught on tape is trying to get promoted to run the nation. There's something wrong with that.
Well, that kind of, let's talk about that a little bit, because we're not going to talk about the political side of it. We'll talk about the legal side of that, because in, is this critical? Is it critical? I agree with you. You have somebody who, built his empire on entertainment, which is, Toronto dump.
Hey, I've got a shirt. I've got a shirt coming that says "Icky Trump" on it from Jack White.
That's funny. And then to use that same what would you say, mnemonic trick, we have Billy Bush,
yes,
who's being fired from his Today job, or they suspended him. But from what I understand, that NBC knew about this particular video for quite some time before it even got released.
He was the one who brought it up, which really blows your mind. He was in Rio back in the Olympics, going like, "Hey, I got this tape. Hey, I got this tape." So he's out telling everybody about it, like this isn't going to get me in trouble, right?
Well, here's the thing. I guess according to his contract and the way the entertainment stuff works, is even if they get rid of him and don't even put him on air, he's probably going to get the payout on his contract.
Hey, what do we do? Alice,
right?
Alice, $40 million to go retire. Here's your $40 million, and you don't have to pay the $20 million you're getting sued for. We all know how that works,
Exactly. So whether nobody agrees with what was said. Let's just say that. Now, whether you do or don't, nobody agrees with what was said on that tape. But the fact of the matter is Billy Bush is an entertainer. He's known to be a creep. If you look at, I stopped watching this guy on Access Hollywood a long time ago because he is such a creep. So he's a creep. So you hire him anyway. Pay him his damn money.
Yeah. Hey, you brought the flame in and you got burned. Oh.
Right. So let's talk about some local news. I know you had brought up the Estabrook Dam issue.
Yeah, and again, here's kind of where, and we're gonna work backwards on this. I know it's kind of odd, but what it got me on it is because one of the guys is out there and he goes, "Hey, we have decades worth of public meetings and votes, and to think that it wasn't transparent is a big insult to us at all. We've always been transparent." And then he's also saying things like, he said, just because some people want to privatize and sell off the land, and then it like clicked from this guy, and I'm like, well, wait, what was that? What is he trying to say in that statement about what's going on with the dam, with this dollar buyout, right? Well, what it really turns out to be, if you back it up a little bit, as of October 4th, the Finance and Audit Committee had actually held the vote over. And all Chris Abley and Barrett want is a resolution. And these guys are saying, "Whoa, we've got decades full of this." And here, October 4th, they already pushed it off again to try to bury it at all. And here's what the guy had to say. Well, if we crack open the door and we're going to rezone the parkland so he can resell it, then all of our parks are in danger. What they're trying to cover up is they want to privatize and sell off your park system. That's what Supervisor John Weishhan, whatever, said. And I'm like, oh, wait. So now we all know it's all they're doing is selling it for $1 so that the right people can get the money to tear it down because it costs less than building it back up. Now, where does this all stem from? Guys are saying, well, we've been meeting for 10 years. You know, well, yeah, but what's happened? They're asking you to come to a conclusion. Actually, what happened is that the Department of Natural Resources told it needed to be repaired or abandoned on 2009. They actually
I actually have been following that for some time, and the interesting thing is the people who want it torn down are the DNR. They want it torn down or repaired because it is such, it's in such disrepair. It's actually dangerous.
Well,
And
the DNR, the lakes, the river people,
yeah,
the preservation, everybody except who?
well, the people who live around there who want the little lake.
Yes, the people upstream, the rich people upstream. Now,
Yeah.
it's already been open for the last 10 years or 9 years as it is.
Yeah, it's been drained down.
I think you've gotten used to whatever it is by now. But that certainly sounds like one of those things where there's somebody in the pocket saying, trying to tell them that, well, they're trying to sell off your park system. No, they're not. What a scare tactic that is. No.
Well, and at the end of the day, the parks make money. I mean, that's one of the things that makes money. They are able to, you know, generate funds through things like China Lights or you know, the beer garden or rental of
another couple
facilities.
million. They're going to be able to repair shorelines and do some of those other drainages and make better park walkways around these parks.
Yes.
We have a great park system. We have the best park system in the state. I bet Waukesha County actually does, you know, so just to know that in Milwaukee and such. But yeah, I'm just like, my goodness, what are you guys fighting over? And all it does is keep saying that they kept on, oh yeah, we kept pushing it back for them. So again, Barrett and Abley asking them to finally make a decision. And they, well, we've had all kinds of meetings. Yeah, you've never made a decision. And then once they did, they had the decision to take it down. Then all of a sudden they redid the decision because the people upstream went, hey, Charlie, how about, you know, going against that? Let's put the money in. And they went, all right, well, nobody's really looking at this thing, so we'll just change the vote. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, whoa, wait a minute, you know? So it's like, it was like, no, tear down, tear down, tear down. One day, all of a sudden, it was like, we're going to fix it. And then all of a sudden, like, whoa, wait, we got caught for changing it. Ooh, fish fry you gave me, Joe. I'm going to have to give it back to you now.
Hopefully not this way.
Yes. So,
well, let's talk about another thing they're talking about tearing down.
Tear down the wall, Gorbachev. Tear down the wall.
Well, they're actually talking about tearing another thing down in Milwaukee that I am like really upset about because I love this place. It's the Mitchell Park Domes. It is now on one of America's most endangered sites because it has historical significance. It has some architectural significance, and it also preserves you know, flora for our kids to see. I mean, there's the arid dome, there's the tropical dome, and then there's the show dome. And anybody who's lived in Milwaukee, you know, yeah, it's not the most exciting attraction we have, but it actually is beautiful. And it's also a place they rent out. Again, talking about making money, it is a place they rent out for events like weddings or corporate events or whatever. And
because only 25% of the people get married in churches now.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And I know people who've had weddings at the Mitchell Park Domes. So what's your take? I want to see them repair it or do something with it that's going to be sustainable for the future.
You know, I think it's like anything else. There was a movie, you know, Silent Running, where the last 3 terrariums of human plant life was alive, you know, and like anything, that's what they are, you know, and I guess like anything, if you have to take one down and go to 2 or something like that, like anything, you don't want to lose it from your skyline. I think it means something to the skyline. I think it means something that the people can go there. You know, I've only gone a couple times. Once I got driven by it twice. Once it was closed, but I've only gone once, and the train thing was there. It was really cool. And you're right, it's not something you spend all day at. It's a pop in, pop out kind of thing. You know, so. You know, I don't want it to go, but again, it shouldn't be a burden on the city as well. So,
well, I think they can make money with it, and you do know if they go to 2 what it's going to look like. So yeah. So I know you had a little thing about Columbus Day you had read online.
Yeah, this is you know, and again, I guess goes back to our cultural appropriation, and you know that we're talking about, and you know what we have to worry about, the trigger words that are out there for all these things, and now we're worried about, you know, Columbus Day, and now we're changing it to Native American Day, and I guess okay, so we want to say that you know, and here's the quote from the lady. Christopher Columbus was a murderer who executed mass genocide on an entire people. It is beyond horrifying that we honor him. Okay, all right. This is a different time again. The guy still is credited with, you know, with discovering America as much as
Actually he did. Amerigo Vespucci did.
I understand. You know, he was really down south more, and the Vikings were up north at first anyway. You know, so we know that. Yeah. All right, so yeah, and all that. But again, can't we just still honor a person with that? Because I say the same thing right now when we move things on to that. We already know that Woodrow Wilson's name has been taken off of a school, or wants to be taken off, just, you know, because of, again, he was an advocate for the Ku Klux Klan. Okay, so again, I understand. Again, it's a different time, and that's not a good part of him. But do we always have to judge everything by him? If Buzz Aldrin was all of a sudden an alcoholic or something and was going crazy, are we going to take out the fact that he landed on the moon away from him? I mean, soon we have to let history stand at some point and honor the person. We honored them for some reason in the beginning. Now, we're all flawed, but do we take all the honor away from them? You know, let's say with Papa and, you know, Sandusky and everything like that over there. You know, I mean, same kind of thoughts.
You know what? The thing is I think if we're honoring him based on false facts, yeah, we take it away. You know, and Sandusky, you know, if you want to compare it to Sandusky, he had those wins with, you know, the football team. So I mean, that it is what it is with that. You can't take that away from him. But yeah, you take the statue down because he's an aberrant individual. So with Columbus, our history is showing that he was not the individual that we voted this federal holiday around. So yeah, we have a lot of federal holidays, and we can create more. So, you know, if we can take it and use that day to honor something that is more deserving, I'm for that. I mean, we can still have the federal holiday, call it something different.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Can't we just have that? I guess I'm sorry, it's still Columbus Day, but we're still, if we want to be doing, I guess we have to change it to Native American Day now. We have to change the name, you know. So, but again, do we start anything that has Columbus on it? Columbus, Ohio? Should we change the name of that?
Well, no, that's being disingenuous, and you know that.
Well,
but you know,
I wonder, where are we going with all these things? Where are we going?
We're moving forward because we're correcting wrongs. So that's a wrong. He shouldn't have been honored because the reasons he was honored was based on false pretenses. So you don't honor him any longer.
Well, Jefferson and all his kids, they wanted to start taking Thomas Jefferson's name off of everything now because, again, just, you know, because he just more or less raped slaves. That's where they're at with that, you know.
You know, it is what it is. If that's what the history was, you know, people have the right to. If it's something that they hold dear and they don't want his name attached to it for one reason or another, change the name. I mean, names change all the time. I mean, you know, maybe we should start selling the rights to some of our schools, you know, like have.
But at the same time, we're all clamoring for don't lose my culture, don't lose my identity, don't lose my history, don't lose what brought me this nation. Jefferson.
The history doesn't get lost. The history doesn't get lost if you change something. The history always remains the same. It's the record of the history that's been corrected.
Oh, we're burying it. We're censoring it.
I don't know that we're censoring it because the history I learned in school was wrong. We learned that Custer was this mighty general who did all this great stuff. And then, you know, you get out of high school and you start reading what General Custer really was, and he was a horrible, miserable person. He was horrible to his troops. He ran them into the ground. He made tactical errors. He murdered villages of women and children, but that isn't what I read in high school. So that doesn't make it right. Just because, you know, you read one thing or it is one way when you learn about it the first time doesn't make that right the second time.
Yes, but does one piece mean negates all the good? I mean, again, does one bad apple spoil your whole bunch of accomplishments?
Well, if the actual record shows through, you know, letters to home that they found from his troops and you know, records that are left, you know, some of the oral history, yeah.
Well, I'm back to like Jefferson. I'm talking about someone who really we actually kind of like, you know, and you know, Custer I could care less about, yeah. But no, I'm talking about a guy like Jefferson.
Well, you know, Jefferson, maybe he wasn't a you know, all the individual we thought he was. I mean, he's the framer of the Constitution. That doesn't mean he's a saint. And, you know, let's face it, slavery was, you know, before we abolished slavery. So it was part of the culture back then, like you're talking culture. However, it didn't make it right. So if people want to, you know, if they're in a school that has, you know, a specific population and they want to change the name because they're offended by it, change it. Who cares? It's a building.
But he was an architect of the change, so there should be some credit to there.
He's an architect of a revolution, which, you know, that's you know, a whole different thing. So let's talk about history some more. But I'm going to talk about
we're probably getting close. We're already 28 minutes. Probably should just
yeah, I'm gonna do my little movie rant.
All right. Fantastic.
Okay, so when The Revenant came out, you know, my husband and I went and saw it on the big screen, and it's spectacular. I mean, the movie's just freaking stunning on the big screen. Yeah. So recently,
it's only a good movie because it's visually good.
Here's the thing: we both watched the movie, and then my husband loved the movie so much he got the book and he read the book, and the book is not like the movie. In the book,
never is. That's why I don't read. See, you're always let down. If you never read, you're never disappointed.
So in the book, the way the events happened are completely different and out of context from how they happened in the movie. Now, when I watched the movie, the first thing I thought, and one of my pet peeves is "and another thing," and we could go over Prometheus at another time because that movie is a long string of "and another things." Exactly. But in The Revenant specifically, every time something happened to him, he wound up in freezing water in early winter. Now, you've lived in Wisconsin long enough to know that you don't go in the water past, you know, like September, because the water gets so cold, you can't be in the water for more than 15 minutes without hypothermia. I did the
polar bear plunge, and I when I was walking out there and my ankles were starting to freeze in the water, and there wasn't even ice in the water. That was 40 degrees, you know, and nice on New Year's. And my ankles were starting to freeze, and I thought to myself, well, this is a bad idea. What am I doing? And
exactly.
I was ready to turn around and run back, and then there were other people with me who were still coming out, and I'm like, all right. So I dived under, I got up, and got out of there. But yes, that's tough, man.
Okay, so here's the thing. This guy has been shot at by you know, the tribes in the area. He's, you know, running and scared because, you know, they're under pursuit and they're trying to lay low. He goes and he encounters a mother bear, and these cubs are tiny. Like, it's supposed to be early winter. There's no way these cubs are this size with this large
They'd still be nursing. They can't hibernate at that size.
Right. So there is no way that had occurred like that. So that was, and another thing, that was wrong. I mean, second of all, when you look at the movie, it's like they're always in the water and then coming out of the water and then drying off. It's like there's no way you can dry off when it's snowing out. And
you freeze. You freeze like you're gonna walk. You know, like you're in a cast. It'll be like that.
Right. Yeah.
It turns right into that.
And then there's, you know, other little things that, you know, come through the movie that you just kind of go, no way. You know, that's just not going to happen. Gunpowder should be wet. You know, things like that. And so my husband read the book, and when he read the book, first of all, it didn't happen in winter. It happened in like mid to late fall. So he would be in the river. If he was in the river, then he would climb out of the river, and it might be 70 degrees out.
Oh,
and
sure.
You could dry out. You could dry your stuff. I mean, it's going to be 70
out, hang it on a line, you know. There might be a little breeze, a nice breeze coming through. Yeah.
Well, and then the thing with his son, apparently he didn't have a son. So
they needed someone to tell a story. Oh, I got to fly.
Well, here's the thing. they didn't know how to tell the story properly, because I guess his prized possession was his gun, and his gun was a very specific type of gun, and it was a rare gun, and that was one of the things that Fitzgerald took from him, was the gun. Well, they substituted his son for the gun because maybe they didn't think people could be, you know, believable, that, you know, you make your bread and butter from your gun during that time of the year. I mean, you're protecting yourself, you're trapping, you're getting food. Yeah, so I mean, it's like the whole thing really irritated me at the end of the day after I knew more about it. And then to watch it again on the little screen and see more of those warts come up, it doesn't hold up over time. I will say Leo's performance was amazing. I mean, he looked like he was in pain. He looked like he was having the most rough time on the face of the planet.
That's good when you can do that with a movie. Again, you still appreciate the movie, but again, you get to still pick on it a little bit. You know, that's still good.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do an after hours on Prometheus, because that movie still pisses me off. And there's a new Alien coming out, so.
Yeah. All right. So just going on again, we started out with my Frankenstein face again. Just give a couple of shout outs to parks. Or Haunted Halloween that we've got up in Neenah. If you're up north and listening to us, the Burial Chamber, burialchamber.com. Check them out. The Hills Has Eyes in Franklin has got the early buzz. Hill Has Eyes. So just remember, just like the movie, which still, boy, that is one of the scarier movies to me. Hills Have Eyes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's very brutal. And then, of course, Wisconsin Fairgrounds at Waukesha Fairgrounds. All right, #1 haunted house in America by Haunted Magazine, CNBC. Returning for the 13th year is Morgan Manor. That's the house they always do. Then they're going to have a place called Twisted, which is new. So evil and wrong. It's wicked evil. It's twisted. Laugh here in a minute. The evil is also unstable, which means they must have like a barn thing going on. They have a room escape, and there's actually an overnight thing they do. So for 13 hours of fear, you can actually buy. So boy, I'll tell you, and looking at tickets are anywhere from like 25 to 45 bucks for like all three of the haunted houses. There's actually 3 there. That, boy, I'll tell you, that sounds like the place to go. One of the better places, definitely.
That sounds like everybody's got their weekends planned. Also, I don't have them all listed, but I did go to Speaker's Pumpkin Farm. They're up on Highway 57 near Plymouth. I recommend them for pumpkins. So anybody who hasn't got your pumpkins yet, go find pumpkins.
When I went to Berlin, we went by a little place, you know, it has just out on the flatbed trailer, you know, with the pumpkins in a box, you know, just put your money in there, and there's prices on each.
On your honor.
On each of the on your honor, you know, and it's kind of funny as I'm peeling off my price tag and putting it on the box. There's price tags all over the box. Well, a guy could figure out how much is in that box. Well, there's 3, there's 2, there's 4, there's. You know,
and then they're gonna take the box. Oh, that would be bad.
Oh, wagon at that point, you know. I guess.
Yeah.
If it's worth it or not, but yeah, I love the on your honors. But yeah, I got some really cool pumpkins myself too. Do you do anything seeds? Do you do seeds at all?
We always do seeds.
All right.
Yeah. And then what I do is I don't toss the pumpkins. I actually give them to my neighbor, and she makes pumpkin soup.
Wow. Do you do flavoring on your seeds, or just kind of like salt?
Depends. But speaking of my neighbor, I'd like to thank our listeners, the original listener, Dave's mom, and my neighbor, Pat, who will be making pumpkin soup. And we thank you all for watching. Hopefully you'll tell 2 people, they'll tell 2 people, and we'll get internet famous. So thanks for sharing with others. Check out our Facebook page. I know that Dave will be putting some links up on there, and you can check me out on Twitter at AL3XAMKE. And you can email us at hip.or.critical@gmail.com. I'm going to say bye, Milwaukee. Peace out. Y'all be good.
Bye, Milwaukee. High five.
Bye. Bye.